Real world learning can and does mesh with Common Core standards for English language arts and mathematics, C3 framework for social studies state standards, and next generation science standards. In 1994, I sat down in 8th grade, brought in my textbook, my notebook, watched my teacher put a transparency sheet up onto the big box with the bright light and the mirror that reflected it up onto the projector screen. And what he'd do is he'd have us sit back, follow along with him with our textbook as he was just writing down notes and regurgitating information for us to, basically that level one of knowing on the Create Excellence framework. And that was really about it. Afterward, he would give us a worksheet just so that we could get some added practice in, and that was it. Then this was a science class, so really not that many projects. If it was basic, nothing that I really truly remember, especially taken with me after I got out of school that I could apply to any kind of career. But my second period class was my favorite. This was a woodworking class, and during that time, I could be wrong, but I don't believe that there were any kind of standards or anything that just that guided or guided his teaching practice. But basically, what he did was he gave us an opportunity to build things, to construct things, and he did it in a way that really captivated us. He would allow us to choose a project. He would order the blueprint. And then from there, we would have to figure out the linear feet that is a connection to Common Core math standards. We would have to figure out angles, basic geometric shapes, follow the blueprint, lay it all out, and make this item. But with that being said, we also had to learn the safety for all the equipment that we were going to use. Table saw, circular saw, bandsaw, you name it. So not only were we learning the mathematics side of how woodworking or how to construct things, we were also learning the steps that it took and the necessary safety steps that it took. So we got a connection there with Common Core English language arts with steps in the process. And then one thing that he had us do is he didn't order the materials for us. We would have to figure out what kind of wood that we wanted to use. And that was a choice of walnut, oak, pine, poplar, and all different grades. And they all cost different, depending on what wood. If it was a hardwood, of course, it was going to cost some more. So we learned an economic aspect to it as well. So we got that C3 framework for social studies in there with economics, and that idea that everything we choose, has an economic purpose or reason, whether it could fit our budget or whether it couldn't, because we were paying for this out of pocket, or our parents, guardians had to pay for it. And then, of course, when it was all said and done, everything was planned out. We got our materials. We had to order. We actually had to call the lumber company and collaborate with that business along with our teacher to get our materials and then make this thing come to life and make it happen. And the funny thing about this is that after I graduated high school, I found myself going into the construction field because it's what I knew the most about. I knew everything that I knew the basics of everything that I needed to get started in the business, and then I just kind of took it from there. So when I look back and I reflect on my own education, and I look to see what I could do for students nowadays, and how bringing real world learning into alignment with our content standards, I reflect back and I look at how I do that, and that helps me now bring to life these lessons for kids so that they can take these skills into their own future.